What's going on, Paisanos? V here, coming to you guys, well, on a market watch today. Every Yu-Gi-Oh player is basically getting ready, prepared for NAWCQ, or Nationals, anywhere by you, if you're in Europe or South America, what have you. And we're pretty much waiting to see what Konami's going to do with it. I mean, if you go to Konami's official website, you get the 2020 World Championship Qualifier invite list, and basically time froze after that. Everyone wants to play at Nationals, but we have to see what would happen recently with Konami's policies and the rules of COVID. We don't know what's actually going to be happening as far as those rules being applied to Nationals. If it does, it's going to make a lot of players not be able to go, including myself. But everyone's basically still getting ready. I mean, Yu-Gi-Oh players want to get involved. They want to go ahead and put their money towards these Yu-Gi-Oh decks. They want to go ahead and put their chips on their decks right now, and a lot of them are already doing it despite the situation. And I know myself personally, I'm doing it, and comment down below, what deck would you play right now if Nationals was right near you? What would you do? What deck? Let me know in the comments down below. I'm going with Baronne Despia, but I would love to hear what you guys have to say, because there are a ton of decks you can play. And if you're looking to get some of these cards, well, some of them are kind of expensive, like Baronne de Fleur, the collector's rare. It's roughly around $215 right now, and it's insanely overpriced. Is it worth it? Well, kinda. It's only worth it if you have a max rarity deck and you're actually looking to play at events. Get your money's worth. Other than that, it's really not. It's a little bit overpriced. Looking at the regular version of Baronne de Fleur, it's roughly around $42 from Maze of Memories. Now, that's a lot of money, especially if you already have Baronne de Fleur. The original print out of Legendary Duelist Synchro Storm, that's roughly around $56. Do you sell? Well, I don't know. Because Baronne de Fleur still sees some level of play, and the value is still going to be there. Whether you sell this version to get the other version, which is the same rarity, it doesn't really matter as much. You know, one card I thought that had a lot of hype behind it, a lot of excitement behind it, was XL Synchro Stardust Dragon. The collector's rare is roughly around $82, and the regular ultra rare, well, it's only at $15. What's going on with this card? I thought this was going to be the blowout card at Maze of Memories. But for the most part, it came out with a whimper. Didn't really do much. Everyone had a deck, had a combo, had a strat, had a card, and now you're over here, and nothing's really going on as far as this card's value. Triple Attack is also slowly rising in value despite what the market is showing you. You can see over here, it looks like it went down a bit. Even the month chart, it looked like it went down a bit, but it hasn't. You got one over here. This guy has it for 74 bucks. That's a bit of a deal when you realize the fact that when you go to page 2 to the next verifiable seller, you're looking at roughly around 75, 75, and then we start getting almost into the $80 range, roughly around 78 with shipping for this one over here. People buy this card in play sets, and if you go by the previous buy history, you're seeing a play, two of them being bought at 80, then 75. So the value is all over the place for Triple Tactics Thrust. A lot of Yu-Gi-Oh players want to grab this card because going second in this game is a make or break situation. And one of the cards that's going to be able to help you is going to be Triple Tactics Thrust. Activate this card, get evenly matched, you're going second, you clean their board, you build your board, and you're happy they're not, meaning your opponent. This card, it's almost like a needed card, but not at the point where it is 100% needed. But as the meta progresses, it could be to that point. I keep going back to Triple Tactics Talents and Forbidden Droplet. When they first came out, they were good. If you could get them, but it wasn't needed as they were later on in the meta. Looking over at Triple Tactics Thrust, it might be that way, where with Talents and Droplet became a must-have. Thrust might be that card. And if it does, the value of this card is not going to be at $74 or $75 or $80. It's going to be rising beyond $100. For all my friends that play Edison format and just old formats in general, Card Trooper CR is kind of dirt right now. It came out with a pre-sale roughly around $50, and it's currently at $32 for the CR. To be honest with you, I think this is a highly undervalued card. I think that a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh players that are looking to play Edison format definitely want to have something of good value, and they want to, especially if they want to max rate the entire Edison deck, because once you do it, you're basically done, unless you want to do another deck, but that's whatever. And if you do that, what card are you getting? The ultra rare? The common? Like, what are you doing? This is a CR. Nobody's looking at this version right now. It is dirt cheap, and just because Amazing Fans is relatively new, and I know Konami's doing this weird thing where lately they've been cash grabbing everything as possible, but Card Trooper is still, as CR, a really good card to grab. Blazing Cartesian of Virtuous. And like I said in the beginning of this video, Brandon is what I'm playing, and I know a lot of other players are playing Brandon. In fact, today my remote duel stream at 6 o'clock, Twitch TV YuGiOh YGOPaisano, I'm going to be playing Branded again, making a couple of changes, but for the most part, I'm going to be playing Branded Despia because that is a deck I'm looking to play moving forward in this game. I think at Nationals, the deck will still see play. We know it's going to get more support, and everyone is getting ready now. Once again, whether you're playing Branded, Kashiras, what have you, Trap Tricks, Marin says, it doesn't matter. It's all about getting ready now in expectation of what's to come, which is obviously going to be Nationals, but the next core set as well. And we know the next core set, Brandon is getting more support, so Yu-Gi-Oh players out there, well, they're buying up Blazing Cartesia. Now, myself personally, I think one's more than enough. I feel like you're playing two, you're getting too greedy, but if you want to grab this card right now, it's roughly around $56. At one point in the game, the card was roughly, I think I got mine when it was 27, I think I got mine roughly, right around here, and it's being bought up. People are buying this card, as you can tell already. Like, this card is a card every Yu-Gi-Oh player is going to need if you're playing Branded. You can play the other version if you want to play more of a budget-friendly build of the Cartesia. But, I mean, Ecclesia, Incredible Ecclesia. But you need this card, ultimately. Alright. Then we have Red Eye Struck Dragoon. The card's back. Yay. Red Eye Struck Dragoon is definitely a card that a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh players are going to be needing. The value has been increasing, whether you get the 2010 Prismatic Rare or the Ultra Rare. The values are almost the same, between $10 difference. $30 for the Prismatic Rare, which I personally like more, but the Ultra Rare, roughly around $40. Let's go look at the Starlight Rare, because that's the good one. That's the one everyone wants. The Starlight Rare version of this card is roughly around $330. Now, once again, it's up to you whether or not you want to go ahead and grab this card. And you don't really need to buy Max Rarity Yu-Gi-Oh! Because there's no incentivization. And this is something that I want everyone to really understand. A lot of Yu-Gi-Oh! Players aren't buying Max Rarity because why? If we can't go play at Nationals or YCS, there's no reason to buy the best rarity. We're not buying that for locals. And I think a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh! Players agree with me on this one. But imagine, and seriously, think for a second, imagine that Konami says, you know what? There's no more COVID policy. That's silly. Why are we doing that? That makes no sense. Everyone complain out of events. What would happen to the market? Ask yourself that. You ever thought about that? Like, what would happen to the entire Yu-Gi-Oh! Market if Konami got off their high horse and decided to be only a trading card company rather than a pharmaceutical company? Like, what would happen? Well, the market would go crazy. Everyone would buy because they want to have their decks because they're getting ready to go to events. A lot of Yu-Gi-Oh! Players that literally have not played Yu-Gi-Oh! Since 2019 will now have an opportunity to come back into the game. And they're going to be really excited to play the best decks at these events. Best off for every one of those players to practice and be ready. Hopefully we'll get a change soon. Then we have Don Wrestler Pankratops. I always think there's an R here. Anyone else? This card, CR out of Ancient Guardians, has been going down in value, but it's roughly around $110 still. Now, you don't need a CR. There's a bunch of other rarities, and they are relatively inexpensive. But the reason why I think this card is such a good card, because going into the current meta, it plays around a lot of things. Dynamite of Pankratops is definitely a card I think a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh! Players can get a lot of good value out of, especially if you want to throw in your side deck. You have that 15 slot, this might be the card you need. And if it is, well, the CRs are going to cost you money. Alright, I want to talk about Drytrons. We recently had a remote duel extravaganza, and Drytrons was one of the decks to top that remote duel extravaganza. Congrats to that player. Drytrons are not going anywhere. I mean, let's think about it. The deck can still play Yu-Gi-Oh! Really well in the current game. Yes, Kashiras is annoying, and yes, a Rise Heart is a phenomenal card, but if the Drytron player at that top, you just build cards in your deck to stop that Arise Heart. The second you do, the game is basically autopilot. Now, looking at the current values of Drytrons, they're relatively inexpensive. The only card's money is Drytron Nova. After that, you got Minion Drytron at $9, and then after that, everything is under $1 for the rest of the core. Drytron is still a really good deck. They still could just, Majesty's Fiend, or I use Vanny's Rule. I always forget the name of the card, but they can still play that one card that looks at your opponent and says, hey, hopefully you have the answer. If not, we're going to game 2 immediately. And I think that's really cool. I think Drytron's coming back and topping a extravaganza says a lot about the current state of the game. We also have Fallen Albaz. Now, I just want to point out how crazy the prices are. I mean, we got the common and the ultra rare. That makes sense. The secret is like $18, probably for unlimited. And the ultis are at $40. Now, ultis at $40 makes sense to me. They're kind of undervalued. But the secret rare being half value? Who has secret rare Fallen Albaz and why? Just pay double the price and get the ultimate rares. Looks clean. Coral Dragon, at a Dark Illusion, has been rising in value, and I really don't know why. And if you know, comment down below, let me know, because this card has slowly been increasing. I mean, you can see over here at one point it was roughly around first edition for $8, and when you go over here, I mean, Unlimited's are roughly around $17. First edition is going to run you starting roughly around near $20 for Coral Dragon. Now, this card has other reprints as ultra rare from Legendary Hero deck, so there's that reprint, but to see the original print Synchro rise so high in value, why? Is it going to see any future play, and what deck? And will it really work? So the number one question a lot of non-branded Yu-Gi-Oh players are asking is, when the ban list comes, are we going to get hits to Give Me Public Nightmare, to DD Orthros? I mean, that is the Konami way. They never hit the exact problem. They hit everything around the problem. See Instant Fusion. And eventually Instant Fusion gets hits. Or is Konami going to hit Branded Expulsion? If it does, no big deal. Branded still gets an insanely huge boost in the next core set. But if Branded Expulsion does get hit, well, what will happen to the value of Give Me Public Nightmare? Well, it will go down, obviously. The card right now, old card is roughly around $19 and $20. The card came out of Number Hunters. $19 and $20 for this card. And to be honest with you, it's a great card. It's amazing to use right now and branded. But if it gets hit, this $19 card will be worth 19 cents. So just keep that in mind for a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh players. One of my favorite cards right now, and only if your deck can play it, is Denko Seka, or Renko Deck as my friends call it. This card is amazing. A lot of people are out there right now playing Trap Chicks, maybe even playing Labyrinth, and this card just hitting the board, look at your opponent, and it just feels good. It immediately tells your opponent, you better have some way to stop this, because if you don't, the game's over. Do you have an Effect Veiler? Maybe? I don't know or care. This hits board. Don't worry about picking up that back row. It stays where it belongs. It's a good card overall. The Battle Legends Election Event Secret Rare is roughly around $5, and everything else on that is under $1. So you might want to consider picking this card up if you are looking, or if you have a deck that can't play this card. It will make your Labyrinth matchup infinitely easier. It will make your Traffics matchup infinitely easier. I believe the only one you have to worry about is Alamarius, the one that like can act. That's it basically. Like, Denko Seka is a phenomenal card. I think a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh players can get great value by playing this card. I think, you know, if your deck can fit it, of course. Relatively inexpensive and a pretty cool tech. Anyway, I appreciate you guys watching my video. Make sure to hit the like button, subscribe button, comment down below. It's your boy V, and you boys have a great day.